guys, when I first saw this, as a kid, the laugh. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah. Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
All right, everybody. It's one fucking hour time. I, of course, am Evan Husney, and this is the show where we talk about one goddamn movie, and we have just one fucking hour to do it. And joined here with me, as always, here to my screen left, we got Big T, Tom Fitzgerald. Tom.
Hey there. Just happy to be here.
All right, and we got, as per usual here on the far right, wait, no, I can't say that.
On the far right?
I keep saying that.
God.
Jesus.
Representing the far right.
I keep saying that. I don't mean to do that.
God.
Just strike
He's
that
live
phrase
from
from your
8chan.
vocabulary.
Stu, can you
Although
edit that out?
maybe I'm on the far right. Maybe you don't. You never know.
Never
we don't
know.
know. We don't talk
Right.
politics here, but at
We
least
got
we know.
radicalized. Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Marcus Herring is on the far
Starting
right.
out great. I will say I'm so glad that we have another guest tonight. Otherwise, it would be 3 men on 3 women. Would be the caption for this. So.
3 men and a baby.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcus, for making that point.
Yes, totally. And who's that girl? Well, we got Miss Rémy Bennett. Welcome back to the show. Of course, if we're talking fugue states, we're talking dread and trauma. Who better to call?
Ring.
Rémy.
When we taping?
Yes. I had to do this one, so thank you for having me.
Of course. And what are we doing tonight? Of course, it's episode 98. Holy shit. We are on the cusp, as Tom likes to say.
Cusp!
Of our centennial episode.
98 degrees, baby.
98 degrees.
hours.
Yeah, 98 hours. Holy shit.
That is a way to look at it.
Fuck. And that, of course, is we're talking about one fucking hour on Robert Altman's, our first Robert Altman film.
Guys.
I know. WTF.
Crazy.
To get to almost episode 100 and to have not done Altman, it's almost weird. It's like we had to intentionally do that. Like you're like hopscotching away from covering an Altman film. It's odd.
And then
It
our
is.
first one's like a non-prototypical, an atypical.
But it's a big chunky
Well, it's a
classic,
big one, sure, but it's an atypical.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
We've had a weird trajectory, but we finally here. Robert Altman, we're talking about one of his greatest films, one of my favorite films, 3 Women from 1977. Very excited to get into that.
So special.
So special. Guys, if anyone out there has not seen this movie, get out there. Do yourself a favor, because they don't make them like this anymore.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a lot about that. But before we do, quick shout out to the One Fucking Hour Patreon. Patreon.com/onefuckinghour is where we have uploaded tons of bonus episodes and feature-length audio commentaries and yada yada. So if you want to get access, it's the only way you can get it exclusively up there on the Patreon. So if you sign up, it's just $5 a month. Or if you want to keep all this bonus content here on YouTube, if you're watching us there, you can scroll underneath the video, click the join button, and become a moment of the channel. All same price, same benefits, same bullshit. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate everybody who signed up, and we're going to have another bonus episode for you guys soon. I'm sure around the 100th episode, we're going to do something spectacular for the Patreons as well. So thank you guys so much. And I don't know, guys, is it showtime? Should we get into this? Should we do it?
I think so.
Okay, it's showtime.
Once again, it's a fool's errand, as they say, to cover a film like this.
I know.
For 160 minutes.
I know.
So here we go.
It's gonna be
Here we
rough.
go.
It's gonna be
Here we
brutal.
go.
It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be brutal. So let's
I'm already irritated that I didn't get to say everything.
Shit. I know.
All right, well, let's...
I have many regrets, too.
Look,
Haven't even
guys,
started.
I mean, like a lot of people don't understand the pressure of the clock is real. That's why we're always talking over each other. That's why we're always trying to get shit in.
Yes,
everyone's like saying these guys, they just need to let each other. It's like, no, you looking at the clock? Are you scared?
You try.
Time is money. Let's go.
Time is money.
And of course, what's amusing to me is this is all self-induced, and it's an absurd, completely unnecessary
I know.
constraint. And
It's an
limit,
arbitrary,
but we do it.
We do it.
Well, now we're 98 episodes in. We can't change it up now.
Yeah, what do you want us to change it now?
No, but
2 fucking hours?
But it is also a good format.
It is.
Like,
Come on.
like to have, because as we noticed, I guess this is why we started doing this constraint, is, everything can be like blobby. If you don't watch out, like these talky things on the internet,
I know.
like can just kind of blob out. But like
Yeah.
we're like treating it as if it is like on NBC.
Yeah,
like a segment.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like from 10 to the news. We're gonna have
We
one
got a
fucking
hard
hour.
out. We
No,
don't wanna-
but to be honest, like if it wasn't 1 hour, would we ever stop?
No.
And that would be the problem.
Guys, that's
We
what I'm
would-
saying.
we'd
I've
never
been.
stop.
We got to get the show on the road, but I've been privy to conversations, especially between the two of you, that start and never
Yeah.
stop. So
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
didn't have this, it would be a very
All
different show.
long, yeah.
Trust me. Okay.
Into the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, guys,
Excessive.
I'm going to get this clock going. Here's the clock. Ready? And boom. Okay. Quick little synopsis action, as we always do here on the show. This is just taken straight from the Criterion release of the film. Here we go. 3 women. Okay. In a dusty, underpopulated California resort town, a naive southern waif, Pinky Rose, played by Sissy Spacek, idolizes and befriends her fellow nurse, the would-be sophisticate and, quote, thoroughly modern Millie Lamoureux, played by Shelley Duvall. When Millie takes Pinky in as her roommate, Pinky's hero worship evolves into something far stranger and more sinister than either could have anticipated. Featuring brilliant performances from Spacek and Duvall, this dreamlike masterpiece from Robert Altman careens from the humorous to the chilling to the surreal, resulting in one of the most unusual and compelling films of the 1970s. And that says it right there. I mean,
That's
That
a
was
good
good.
write-up.
it is. It really is, and that's why I use these. You can always, the criterions you can always trust. But the damn, like it is one of the most compelling films from the 70s, and it's like that's kind of one of the big things for me in rewatching it just the other day is like just being astounded at the concept that this is a studio released movie. It's something, as you said before we started recording, Tom, that this would be like there'd be ads for this movie in the New York Times.
Well, I remember vaguely as a kid, there was a full-page ad, like in the LA Times.
Right.
Like this was a major release. It played Cannes, and it played in multiplexes. To empty theaters, but it did play not in a micro cinema niche kind of thing.
No.
This is not a small indie film. This is a major Hollywood production.
What a time! What an unbelievable time that there's like,
Maybe the best example.
Yeah, of like
how
gate,
truly unique that period was for a Hollywood film.
totally of like gatekeepers, in a studio being like, green light, let's go, 3 women. It's what a magical time.
Yeah.
What's so
seriously.
funny too? The guy that greenlit this movie is Alan Ladd Jr., who, as we remember from our Star Wars episodes, the guy that greenlit Star Wars. So did he do it the same year even too?
Yeah.
That
Wow.
It came out around the
same
same
year
time.
he stamped right. So he stamped Star Wars with approval and 3 women the same year. so.
It's back in
Which
those times.
means taking a chance for
Yeah.
both of them. In
Yeah,
different ways.
exactly.
absolutely, and it's really
Which
amazing.
nobody does anymore, right?
No,
it's like,
no, because everything is for all audiences. It's all broad, and this is a time when you're making very special existential films for certain types of people, and you're making, films like Star Wars. It's wild. So, anyway, I thought we could just sort of get into this and talk about this. Tom, you sort of echoed earlier before we started recording. Again, this also it kind of hit you that this is one of my favorite movies too, right?
Yeah, forget it. I mean, I guess all I'm really saying is it's been a while, and we were like throwing it around like, oh, we'll do 3 women. It's about time here on this show, and we're almost at 100 episodes, and I'm surprised we haven't, or that I haven't, at least personally speaking, been like banging the drum, like, what up? When are we doing 3 women? It's like, because again, I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I was, sort of sick of it in my mind. Like, yes, I know every second of it, like all the little details are forever in my mind, but to see it again, maybe 10 years later,
Wow.
I was blown away in all different directions, you know, and I wouldn't change a thing. And it's magical, and not just to qualify it like it's a magical moment for Hollywood cinema, but just in all of film and even beyond Altman's career. I like Altman, but this is just another thing. You know, this is like like supernatural filmmaking.
It is.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rémy, just to throw it to you real quick, you were sort of talking about too on the revisit of this movie, just in terms of, man, this is kind of the ultimate female film in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, that's something that I was thinking about. That I mean, it's interesting, doing it with you guys, but it's everything about it. Like the essence of it is like about like the feminine spirit, the evolution of like women through time, but like even just the aesthetic of it is so. It's like, I don't know, it's like crack for like women who love movies and style and like art and the colors of the clothes and the aesthetics, and just there's something about it that just like speaks so much to the female experience in a very like interior, personal, dark way that I don't think maybe
like a
most
diary entry way.
That I don't even think most men like understand. We can go through that later, but like it's sort of exploring like the nature of what happens in female friendships in a very surrealistic, almost supernatural way. And I got to say, just as a guy here, that is another planet for me. That is totally foreign territory, but that doesn't make it uninteresting. Makes it even more compelling because it's like I'm a tourist. I'm like, the fuck is going on with these two broads? But like, no, but it's very exotic to me. You know what I mean? And so it speaks to me in a different way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Marcus,
while we're showering it with we're gonna ask me something.
I'll just go ahead. Yeah, take it away.
While we were showering it with praise, I just wanted to mention that one of the things I really respond to too is when you step back and look at this movie, kind of big picture. Like it's just such a pure cinematic thing. Like it's not based on a book. It's like it's kind of a vague idea out of a dream, which I'm sure we'll get into, and it's kind of winged as you go along, and there's not all. The cinematography is very naturalistic. It's not like all this distracting lighting, everything. I don't know. It just feels like this is what a very purely like what a movie is, and not like based on a book or something like that. So that's one of the things I really love about this.
Or like what it could be.
Play version of Three Women, that you could do.
True. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but it's very pure cinema. It is kind of what the possibilities of movie making, and I think it achieves a lot of that. Just a quick couple little tidbits, and then we'll get into sort of the characters and so on and so forth with the movie. As Marcus, or we all kind of have alluded to with the making of this movie, it received its green light from the 20th Century Fox studio, but not only was it without a finished screenplay that it got the green light, but with an expressed desire to make the entire movie without one. So he went into this like, I'm gonna make a movie, no script. And the fact that like a studio is like, sure, man, whatever, is just
talk to you later.
Yeah, right. Talk to you later.
Have fun.
Okay, man.
Yeah, it's so fucking dope. It's so great. But you have to be a Robert Altman, obviously, to pull that off.
Yeah, he has some street cred. He had some hits. He also, importantly, always came under budget or at budget. So because the thing is, people say that like, okay, MASH was a huge hit, but he had just actually done Nashville, which was quite popular too. Yeah. So he really was coming off. I mean, of course, he had a bomb after that. Buffalo Bill, whatever the fuck that is. What the hell? But he did have Nashville only 2 years before. So he has a track record. It's not that crazy to give him the keys to the castle for a moment. Like if he's under budget and he just did Nashville, like, all right, spin it around the block, Robert. What do we got?
Yeah.
Did you guys, were you going to mention how the dream or?
Yeah, just getting there.
Okay, cool.
As Marcus alluded to, the sort of where this idea for this movie came from was Robert Altman literally dreamed up the project during a night of tossing and turning as his wife lay seriously ill in a hospital bed. While his dreams that night didn't provide the story, the specific plot, if you will, of the story, it gave him a specific vision to make a film called Three Women, starring Shelley Duvall and Sissy Spacek, set in the California desert. And centering...
let's actually emphasize that more clearly. like those specific tidbits were inside his dream.
His dream, yeah.
Like Shelley walks into the frame and then Sissy walks in the frame. In his dream, there's a title card, Three Women. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Palm Springs. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. And
It reminds me of like Samuel Taylor Coleridge or something, like dreaming. He dreamt a poem, like any art that's conceived in a poem is so compelling.
But then supposedly he was trying to keep the images in his head, and he was describing that feeling of like when you're waking up and like they're on the edges of your consciousness and they're disappearing. And then he like jumped into a car supposedly and like drove to the lot, and then like there was a red light and he like jumped out and then like pitched it and then jumped back in his car and like drove away.
I didn't know that.
And like that, and then they were like, "Go do it, greenlit."
That's amazing. And the one other detail we forgot to mention is in the dream, the only thing like is more so than just the actors and the title and the setting was that it also centered on the theft of someone's personality was something that he was interested in exploring. And so he was, as Rémy said, as soon as he woke up, he's raring to go. We got to capture this while it's hot.
Yeah.
And one thing that's also just my last little bit on this is a little quote from Altman, just sort of about what he was attempting with this movie. He said, quote, "I'm trying to reach toward a picture that's totally emotional, not narrative or intellectual, where an audience walks out and they can't say anything about it except for what they feel." And that's pretty sweet. In terms of a way to approach a film. And we also should not bury the lead here, guys, in the fact that just a few weeks ago, months, the four of us got together and in person and talked about Mulholland Drive for one of our episodes, which definitely shares a lot of themes, similar themes, some similar feelings. The idea of sort of the doppelganger, the almost taking of one's personality and the shifting of one's personality. So it's amazing that we went from that and now we're getting into this movie.
Now we're in our fugue state to another.
Yeah, because I think. Oh, sorry, Tom. Go.
No.
I was going to say with that film that we covered too, it's like we talked about the idea. I think Tom, you said this, where some people can try to emulate a dream in a movie, or like this is what a dream is supposed to look like, whereas Lynch and Altman, they conjured that experience of actually being in the dream. And it's something that you can't put your finger on, that it has this weird discordant, almost dislocated feeling while you're in it. Like, so in Mulholland Drive or in this film, or even in Lost Highway, it's actually that feeling where you're kind of trying to grasp onto these concepts as they drift away. And you're kind of experiencing that. Yeah.
It's very enigmatic, and I think I'd be surprised if someone came away from the first viewing of this movie knowing what it's all about. And same with Lost Highway too. And that's one of the things that's so rewarding about a podcast like this is revisiting movies like this when you're older and you're a bit more even more invested in films, and then you do get an idea about what it might be about on the third or fourth viewing of it. So.
Yep. Yeah. It's definitely one of those movies that it's more rewarding the more you go back to it and sort of pick up on a lot of things that you might not have noticed the first time.
To speak to what you're saying, something that kind of caught my eye is in Three Women, there is a dream, there is a dream sequence. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I thought that was kind of interesting because the whole thing could be a dream. And I read somewhere that an interpretation is it's all a dream and there's a dream in the dream,
Yeah.
But what I mean is, and Lynch doesn't really do dream sequences. I was thinking about this because what you're kind of getting at, Rémy, was it all is a dream sequence.
Yeah, the whole feeling is.
And I think what's cool is both Altman on their own tracks, neither influence each other. It's a dream quality, but it's grounded in reality. It's rooms and it's people and there's talking and there's a door that opens and it closes. It doesn't get crazy and surreal.
Which how real dreams are.
Dali, right? Exactly.
And that's why it is so uncanny, because in real dreams, we are just walking around and doing mundane things. That's generally what's happening every night to us. But then we forget, so it's this experience is almost giving us the opportunity to almost imagine all of our consciousness is intersecting with each other and what that really, and kind of asking the question, like, what is consciousness? What is identity? Like, we are all existing in each other's memories and dreams, and that's kind of all we are.
And someone pointed out that like a classic thing in a dream is that your identity changes. And, you know, some people have said a little quip has been just whenever you're interpreting your dream, just remember you're everyone in your dream. I'll just one little thing is like there's an old friend of mine that I don't think about otherwise or see at all, but he always pops up in my dreams, and I'm like, oh, he's fucking representing me when I was like 20 or something like that. That's not him, but that's me with this different shape, and I'm intersecting and talking with my 20-year-old self or some bullshit like that, and I'm like, fuck, dude. So identity is very playful. Your identity is playful in the dreams, you know, in perspective, and also who populates your dreams. Some could say, it's mostly you or all you. Whoa,
they're all projections. Yeah, sorry, Marcus.
I would just say he left a lot of room for the audience to be participatory in the interpretation of the film, and not in like a way that's kind of cheesy, like a bad, modern TV show whodunit that doesn't explain everything properly. Whatever. This is done so sophisticatedly, and I think he'd said some revealing things about like what was in his head when he made this. Like he was thinking about like paintings, like how it's participatory with the audience to like look at the edges of the lines, and you don't see like a watercolor. You don't see like where one shape ends and the other one and begins. It's not defined, but the audience kind of participates in that and makes the structure. And the music can be the similar, like that it's visual, but the audience is making it in his mind. So he said that his ideal movie was like, a painting and music kind of mushed together, So like, I think that, when he was approaching this film, I think he's got some sort of like, heady, like sort of multimedia, like how can I make film more like these other
and paintings, the murals figure prominently in the film.
Yes, exactly.
Totally.
And talking about like in the is it okay if I talk about the opening a little bit, just like with the water and like just like even just like how when we're entering that world, like we're entering through water. And just the idea of like water as a symbol of like the fluid in our bodies and like the fluid that a baby is in as they're incubating. And the music is very atonal. And so right off the bat, it's like we're sort of going into that underworld of like with those paintings that have like the reptilians. There is sort of like a mythological warning. And so like as we go into the story, we're entering like underneath, it's like under the subconscious.
Well, and one thing to get really heady into this is one thing interesting about water is everything in the water is stuck together differently than us in the air above ground. Whoa. You know what I mean? Just to get slightly abstract is that like water has less barriers, like things kind of
the fluidity in the movement,
like goo together more than like the hard crunchy separation of like land objects. Air breathingness of life here.
Go ahead, Marcus.
There's just something real quick just about the intention of using the water too, and just how he pulled off that effect. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the picture, we'll pull one, but it's like he's got like a scrim in front of the camera that's like basically like an ant farm with two planes of glass with like water inside,
I love that.
So he's shooting through, he's got this like rig set up where he's shooting through water like a lot of times.
I love that.
Like,
that's really cool.
Amazing. So it's super intentional to have that as like a
very much. It is also, I think, kind of not like a framing device, but it is sort of like this visual language that he establishes throughout the whole, like it's this motif throughout the whole film where pivotal moments are framed like through the fish tank in the window of their apartment, obviously the pool outside and other bodies of water. It's a huge part of the visual language of the movie, if you will. And shout out to those fucking paintings, man. They're so rad. They're like, they're like fucking, heavy metal cave paintings or something. Like Magic the Gathering.
Like enormous phalluses.
I know.
Raging spaces.
Yeah.
The artist
cool. Like it's in public. It's like a public pool.
Yeah.
It's like these like rancid phalluses. Like learning how to swim. Very weird.
The artist is Bodai Wind. I like the and I guess he died young, but I like that sort of desert outsider art thing too. You know, living out in California, you can become a real desert file like myself and go out to places like East Jesus or Salvation Mountain or whatever, and you've got these like
Yes.
even in Palm Springs at the Nora Porphyry Museum, you know, it's like you've got these outsiders that move to the desert and make this weird art. You know, and I guess that's what
Like the character Willie, you know,
Willie,
Yeah,
yeah.
Willie.
in the film, Janice Rule's character. Can I, if we're just maybe staying on dreams for just 1 second, I want to get more specific in particular and something that I tracked on this viewing. It was very rewarding. Okay, so Millie, Pinky is setting up the cocktail, the shrimp cocktail, and she gets
That's my
very,
favorite,
like,
yeah.
Freudian red all over her dress, right?
Yep.
But then in the dream,
Yep.
did you guys notice that
She's
there's
stabbed.
yes.
Yeah.
Wait, is Pinky stabbed?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pinky's on the floor, stabbed like out of
Yeah.
like the Manson family killing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I actually never noticed that ever.
Me
And I was
neither.
like, whoa, shit. But then, of course, going full circle, it's Millie who in her outfit is covered in the stillborn birth of the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 3 times it goes 1, 2, 3 of in very different contexts of the same thing, essentially, like a whitish dress. Right at the same part of the dress, there's like a splash of red, and that's so dream.
I love
It
that.
is.
That's killer.
Because it's the echoes. Like I noticed that on this viewing too. I kept on saying to Evan, the dress, the cocktail sauce on the dress, because it's when an image, there's an echo of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've had that too with multiple dreams and you're in it and you're like, I remember this, but then it's foreshadowing something or referencing something.
Right.
And it's, yeah. Sorry.
It's kind of
Evan.
like, I don't, not to be a dork, but it's kind of like when you're refreshing, making an AI image on Midjourney, and it kind of it like reinterprets.
I was waiting for the AI.
What?
It reinterprets it in like a
Go ahead.
different
I know-
context. You know what I mean, right? Like it's
Well, you're like
Yeah.
shaving the like
it's like
contouring the changes
now Donald Trump is like holding this instead of
Right.
what he was
because the
before. No,
prompts
Right.
are dialing it in. You know?
Right.
Vary that area of it. Yeah.
Yes,
But
the
it's also
prompts,
like with the
prompts.
blood too. It's like the idea of like death and rebirth. So it's like that's
Yeah.
such a big part, obviously, with the water and like being reborn in the water, and then
And-
Sissy
if I
jumping
can,
off. Yeah.
There's like a larger sort of global echo of weirdness of the blood because Sissy Spacek the year
Yep.
before had vaginal or menstrual blood.
Menstrual blood. Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's Sissy again
Right.
with like weird
menstrual blood.
spotting,
I can shine
like,
a little bit of light on this actually because
Okay.
Oh, good.
he did say that he probably knew that about the Carrie thing. He was a little bit worried about the comparison actually. And he thought maybe even that's where he got the idea for that.
Love
Could be
it.
subconsciously
Dream.
from Carrie, but
Carrie
he was a
dream.
little worried about the comparison. But what he said was that they actually shot an alternate scene where when Millie comes back, Pinky's on the floor with a knife in her as a joke. You know, she was pulling like a couple practical jokes on her.
Wow.
That would have been fun.
And so it was going to be like a gag, and that Millie wasn't going to notice. She was just going to be like, "Oh, you got that over your shirt. Now get up. I need your help," or whatever, you know. And it was a practical joke thing. So that they cut that scene, and then the dream sequence is composed of like extra short ends and shots like that. You
There
know,
you
there's-
That's
go.
fascinating.
That's
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
amazing. Well, can I?
Okay, one tiny echo on this blood thing. Let's do like 15 minutes on the blood. I'm kidding. But like, if you remember in Inland Empire by David Lynch, I remember this.
Yeah.
There's some weird barbecue scene
Yes.
and in the back porch
Yes.
or something. And
Yes.
some guy is spilling like ketchup all over his white shirt. And he's like, oh gosh. And it looks like blood. And it's like, that is so out of a dream. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know, I'm going to get into it and then I'll drop this. But like,
Oh.
maybe there's almost an archetypal thing that would not surprise me. That is more like a Jungian,
Yep.
collective unconscious dream thing of
Sure.
like, of course, a wound.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
own, looking down and seeing your own wound or your
And
like,
womb, by
family
the
member's
way.
wound.
Yeah.
You know, of course, like it gets sexual, you know,
Yeah.
and birth, and so that's like an elemental thing that maybe you know, like is just stuck in there in our dream
cool.
consciousness,
So cool.
and he's
Okay.
playing on that.
Yes.
Quickly,
And so
just
did Lynch in his own way.
Completely.
quickly
Holy
before we get off this whole thing, I just want to say that just shout out real quick to that dream sequence for being like
Oh.
one of the best like
Sure.
abstract surreal set pieces in a movie period. Like the music,
Unbelievable.
that
It's
just
amazing.
that dark droning tone that just hits, and just the different layers of superimposition, the sound design, the music, it's
Pacing
top
of it.
notch in terms of.
Yeah. It's hard to do dream sequences.
It
Yeah,
is. and
that's
that one
incredible.
can't be. One of the best of all time. And then really quickly, just because you just talked about the blood on the dress, my favorite little section of the entire movie is within that whole thing, which is the whole idea of this like dinner party that they're preparing and making the cheese whiz on the crackers, she calls it the sociables, and everything.
Well, you can start by taking some of that cheese spread and squirting it all in a circle on top of those sociables, and then put an olive on top of each one.
And
the chocolate pudding with the whipped cream and
the chocolate, just all this gross, just disgusting finger foods. And then
Reader's Digest restaurant.
Yes.
And then it's just which is amazing, but then it's heartbreaking when the drunk people show up in the truck and they tell Pinky like, we're not going to the party, we're out of here because we're gonna get fucked up and get a bunch of degenerates somewhere in the desert. And then it's that all about that cut, man. Right from that scene of that to her trying on that elegant yellow dress with the flower on her.
Well, she's posing like it's a prom photo.
Yeah,
and she ordered it specifically.
Corsage.
Yeah.
The corsage, and like just
incredible.
Just the sadness of that, like, oh my god!
I have so much empathy for Millie.
So much,
dude.
Can we go back and talk about her too? Like, I just
let's Millie time.
We have to.
Just oh my god,
we have to. So Millie,
go Evan.
Let me start it. You guys take it. Is just Millie. You were mentioning this to me as we were watching it, Rémy. Like watching Millie, it's hardcore, man, because she is just such a. I have a lot of empathy for her too, but she's this very sad character, and like you just feel this overwhelming, like almost it takes you back when you're a kid, and like the feeling of rejection you'd have, or watching somebody get bullied. It's painful. Like her experience in watching it is so
like
brutal.
work is like high school for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
The social dynamic,
and she's being ignored. Like
ignored.
I mean, and there's a lot of levels to that too. Like in terms of like what reality is and what isn't, like where she exists in this dream world, where there's so many hints throughout the film of this through line of like, who's Millie? What was her name? Where? Like, it's like whenever like Sissy Spacek at one point says like, oh, where's Millie today? And they're like, who? And it's like this, she's almost a ghost. Like her identity is almost this transparent.
Well, it's almost like, like the Sixth Sense, like she's talking and no one
acknowledges.
It's not even that they're ignoring her, but they can't hear this ghost that's walking behind them talking about like, Lunchables or whatever.
Yeah. And just like McCall's
Sixth Sense.
And she's wandering through this landscape with this total like sort of like lost. The identity too, like Millie's identity in the beginning of the film is this empty shell that has no like real authenticity, that's like informed by like the McCall's like sewing patterns and the Women's Daily magazine and it's the perfect 1970s housewife woman socialite that she wants to be.
She's trying to create her identity through cheesy women's magazines.
Yes, and there's like
she has none otherwise.
It's similar like what we talked about in The Curse. Also, like it's the idea of like performing identity.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of the film, she's performing this identity and no one is connecting to her. And she's like a ghost in this landscape until Pinky comes and becomes like infatuated with her.
Well, then Pinky thinks she's perfect. And Millie's taken aback by it, like, oh, thanks. Like,
she's like,
I'm not. I didn't think that was going to happen. Where someone thinks not only am I valid, but like I'm perfect.
Yeah,
I'm like killing it on being a woman. Like,
yes,
and then of course you were mentioning the opening of the film too, like how we're introduced to these characters. Like Rémy, you were sort of saying like one of the first things that you see of Pinky is just her infatuation. You see it on her face, and you see that.
And I thought it was an interesting way to like introduce a character, or even like the story. Like you see the water, and then the first shot of like one of the main characters is just Sissy Spacek looking out blankly in this almost like terrified, fixated, stance. And staring at, so right away you have no context of like where that's coming from, what's happening, and then you see her gaze the whole time, the whole film in that beginning section, it's her like hungry gaze, and then you see like the reflections in the mirror in the locker room of the two of them, and all that imagery.
Well, that's the thing too that's really established. Like again, another motif of this movie is right in that beginning is when Millie is training Pinky for the job. Also, shout out to the set, like the setting of all of this being in some, spa, like for,
old people.
Palm Spring Spa.
Yeah, it's amazing. But training her, showing her how the pools work and everything, and then of course, kind of like in a dream, it's like dream symbolism, the idea of like, the other workers that are there that are twins, and you see, you never seen twins before, and it's and this whole film is constantly reminding you of that visual metaphor of twinning and doppelgangering.
Doubling.
What's so funny at that moment when it cuts back to Pinky looking at the twins, and then behind her is like the pool measurement in the water, and it says half. So she's looking at like these, it's like, it says like 2.5 or something, but you can only see it say half. So she's looking at the two women that are doubled, and then it cuts back to her, who's just half a person who, she doesn't have like, she's kind of empty. She's looking for an identity, right?
Yeah.
And Millie is also like, kind of empty in her own way. Like she's trying to make people like her the way that she thinks that is the right way, right? You almost kind of wonder if like Millie is, parroting like maybe her old roommate or something, Deirdre, like she's doing what Deirdre did to make guys like her, you know what I mean? She's just kind of like, she's got similar hair or whatever. There's like, you kind of wonder like if it's this big chain of copying each other, try to like make people like you.
What do you think of that? I mean, because again, we're all tourists about like the female experience.
Yeah.
And so what is going on there about like, I'm just setting up. This is my question. It's just like, is it hard often for women to feel like they have a grounded identity in this world, in the socialized context?
Yeah, in the socialized context.
Maybe even internally they do.
Yeah.
Maybe the way Willie might, the painter. But like in the socialized world, it's like, I guess I could be a mother. I guess I could be a sexual object.
Yes.
like. And just grappling to try to figure out like, what is my role socially? Is that part of what's going on here?
Yeah, I think in a big way, and we'll come back to this, Tom, but you mentioned the idea that like these two actresses were collaborating so much in the content of the film, creating their own characters, creating their own lives. So I think
ad-libbed.
And so I think like that's why it is so uniquely authentic to the female experience, because it was co-created by women, like creatively co-created.
Right.
But I think there's something really interesting about like the female identity as a performance, which women are so often trapped in the performance of being female and what that means, and putting on that identity and that face for the world, because in so many ways they have to, they've been taught that they've traditionally had to in a socialized context. And so even like the lipstick and like even the very concept of this womanhood of that you're painting your face every day, and you're, like you can't let your boyfriend see you without makeup on in the morning. Like, and it's this pressure to like, you're wearing a costume in essence, and all the different roles that we're expected to play and the different archetypes. And I think this film really plays with those, like Sissy. I mean, Pinky is like the, she's the childlike archetype of the young girl who's not yet, lost her innocence, and she's living in that childhood space.
She's
and
a kid still.
She's a kid, and it's like all these different stages of sort of like womanhood. But in terms of like the female friendship, I have to say, like, there's a lot of very strange, dark things that happen within female friendships.
Yeah.
And I've noticed.
It's very like, it's hard because the obsession thing will happen, the fixation thing, there'll be a codependency almost like with female friendships. And sometimes it turns into a kind of mimicking or parroting of the other's identity. This happens a lot. I've had friends who this has happened to. I kind of had someone in my life who sort of did this to me at times, like, and they sort of take your clothes, and you're like, don't wear my clothes. But it's more of a little bit of a creepy thing. People get territorial. It's been explored in a lot of films in different ways. Like in Girlfriends, it's explored. It's Single White Female, it's explored. It's Mulholland Drive. It's like
totally.
There's almost a sexual tension because it is like a romance. Like it is a romance, and
Right.
And if it's that kind of relationship, it's something that can break up badly.
yes,
Other than just like a dumb old friendship, like we're buddies, we hang out, whatever. It's
yes,
like
it can be the worst kind of breakup that you'll ever have.
Totally.
It's very
and
dark.
that happens in this film. Just getting back to the film.
I want to
Yeah.
talk about that. I want to talk about that.
There's a big pivot where and I had kind of forgotten how it works, but again, the pacing is so good in this film. He very subtly creeps in the souring of their roommate friendship.
It's
And
right after what we
I just
were
want to get
saying.
to that part of the film.
It's right after what that part I was saying is where she looks at herself in the mirror, Millie. She looks at herself with the dress on, and then she gets crushed because Pinky didn't say anything to the drunk friends to keep them to come to the dinner party. And then ostensibly, it's very sad, but Millie just abandons Pinky back at the apartment and says she's going to go out to hang out with her friends. And then, of course, oh my God, we haven't even talked about this guy yet, but she goes out and she brings Edgar home, the pathetic town drunk who is
Loser.
a stuntman, like
faded cowboy macho clown.
Stuntman.
stuntman.
He is the ultimate cinematic macho clown. Like that's-
Yes.
like I think
Yes.
in my mind I think that where it's like saddle up kids, like I'm 60 years old and I still got a little hustle in my bustle, and it's just like
Yeah.
Jeez.
yeah.
Like a washed up cowboy. Like if a cowboy is like the picture of like masculinity, he's like
Yeah.
an old, washed up cowboy. You know,
Oof.
that old, dilapidated Wild West kind
Yeah.
of like roadside
A relic.
stereo. You know,
Saloon,
it's,
yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
right.
beautiful.
It's
Just real
that
quick to finish-
masculine past kind of dying out.
Yes.
That's what
Just to
you
finish that
represent.
scene, to bring it around. So then she brings him home. Millie brings Edgar home as sort of this really dark, disturbing sort of move.
AKA the father.
Right. Of
By the way,
of
I want to bring up
Willie.
the strange Freudian family dynamics.
yeah.
Not to side track what you're saying, but
Yeah.
just also it's the shocking reveal of like dad has come home.
Yeah.
Well,
Very.
totally.
It really shocks you see Pinky's face like that it's Edgar.
yeah. Oh, it's very disturbing.
And she's not
and
just morally outraged that there's like a
adultery.
the husband
happening.
is having sex with
Yeah. Right.
it's more than that.
Totally. And so he comes back, and then she kicks Pinky out of bed, so she can have the privacy in that room, and it's really traumatic. And then basically, Pinky's trying to say, don't do this, and then that's when everything turns. The dynamic really shifts, and Millie says it's all your fault. All this stuff is all your fault. She projects everything on her, and then of course, Pinky attempts to suicide. She jumps off the balcony into the pool. Crazy sequence. And that's the big turning point. And then you have this kind of very Mulholland Drive-ish concept.
Very
here.
Lost Highway too.
Very
I
Lost
gotta say.
Highway.
Yeah.
Fugue
Good.
state thing of like
Yeah.
like Pinky's gone, everybody,
Yeah.
and it's actually beautifully delivered dramatically by her not recognizing her parents.
Oh my
we're gonna
gosh.
get there. But
Screaming
Marcus-
that these old people to leave her, hospital.
Oh,
room.
I know.
Holy
We're gonna-
shit.
And that's really disturbing, that part.
yeah.
We're going to get there. Marcus, did you want to say something before we got there?
Just about the guy coming in. I just wanted to point out that like it's it's sort of obvious, but it's all sort of the paintings are sort of like almost like they foreground or preface all this stuff. It's almost like a Greek chorus.
Yeah.
Kind of explaining what's going to happen. And in the paintings you always see these three women that are like sort of cowering from this like
Yeah.
Yes.
malignant like penis force that's coming after them.
Exactly. That's the thing that I realized this time. I was like, "That's Edgar. That crazy monster is Edgar."
Totally.
But can we go back for one sec before we go to the next section of the film after the fugue state? There's just something that I thought was also cool tracking this time, like how the little steps of like Pinky's character of like taking Millie's identity and kind of tracking what that looks like the little moments of her like stealing something, reading her journal. It was also very Fire Walk with Me when Millie is like, "Oh, you can wear my dressing gown if you fix it up." It's like when Donna takes Laura's jacket and Laura's like, "Don't wear my jacket. You're gonna, you're gonna turn into me if you wear my jacket." Where it's almost like these symbols and these and so I was really interested in kind of like watching these steps of her kind of secretively engineering this sort of, I don't know, stealing of this person's identity.
Yeah, and to get into the personal head of her with the diary.
Yeah.
And there's a great shot of that, and when she's reading the diary furiously fast, as Millie is briefly out by the pool embarrassing herself.
Yes.
And like there's this one, whatever the line is, she reads in the diary, she's reading, and she like gasps and looks up out to Millie, like, you know, and that's when I got my second abortion or whatever, you know, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Whatever shocking, incredibly personal thing. It's so intrusive, you know what I mean? And you got to wonder, something very unexplained is all of their past lives, but like, what is up with Pinky? Like, she's a kid, but like something's probably stunted. Yeah. Like why did she wind up being like a 22-year-old kid?
And why did she run away from Texas?
Right. Yeah. And you can tell it's like not a great upbringing. It's like super Christian and uptight and those weird like super old parents, you know. Yeah. But I think there must be more because she's got a lot. She's got so many secrets in her trying to get into the secrets of this other person. Yeah. She has an agenda. That maybe she doesn't even quite understand. Right. But she has weird motivations, and it's just funny to observe and just kind of be a little clueless. But know that there's a lot of weird darkness spinning around in her head, even right from jump with Pinky.
So the elderly parents thing is such a fucking crazy detail and an amazing choice. Why are, you know, but the idea why are, but the inexplicable elderly parents, again, it makes you think of Mulholland Drive. Of course, the terrifying old people. It just makes you think about that. But so they come and they're into town. It's like, how is this even explained? And of course, crazy detail I never noticed until watching it this time is that fucking crazy weird shot of Millie in her apartment when the elderly parents are sleeping over, and she peers into the room, and both the elder parents are clutching each other and like kissing, maybe hugging or
sex.
more.
They're having sex, yeah.
No, like mom and dad it's like she's now the child watching mom and dad.
Yes.
Well, then Pinky wakes up after that too.
Right.
That's like. I guess that old couple are really married in real life. Like they really were like a couple.
That's cute.
Yeah, they were like old Hollywood actors, supposedly.
But dude, that shot is
that's a great, it's like a really understated, like great cinematic moment of like disturbing weirdness. You know what I mean? It played so well is what I'm saying. Like, you know, one thing about him, he has a lot of restraint. Like someone else would have, like some asshole like Ken Russell or something, would have had like close-ups of their faces kind of grimacing. But like he just plays it out, and there's like a lot of naturalism, which just makes it all so much more bizarre. Like you're just you're walking in, and the door opens, and you're seeing this old couple doing what you did not expect to see.
No.
Is there another movie that has that?
At each other.
Is there another movie that has that?
I think some foreign films, some art films.
Because it is shocking in that moment.
And that's what I'm saying.
And Millie is
it's understated. It plays out quietly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, scary. And then just the whole scene of her not recognizing her parents. These aren't my parents. I don't know them.
Screaming at them.
Screaming at them. Scary, terrifying, amazing moment, and then it's never really resolved if they were parents.
They might not be.
Or if they're fucking grifters or whatever the fuck this is. But that's crazy. But
but they know who she is. I mean,
that's true.
And something very heavy.
Right, but the movie's not operating on like that this is all like necessarily like reality anyway, right? It's all dreamlike or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I love how it's.
But I'm thinking that, you know, like that's her parents, and she is having this enormous like trauma
or something traumatic happened between them.
Because it's not the only thing that happens. She has a complete change in her personality, which is when I first time I saw this. That's when I absolutely fell in love with this.
Yes.
Film, is when she's acting like a fucking boss bitch all of a sudden, and it allows. This is one of the great roles for an actor.
Yeah.
To just, it's such a joy to see. Who gives a shit about acting? That's how I feel. But it's like when you got a role like this where you're demanded to have a completely different kind of characterization with all the ticks and nuances of Pinky, and then this is an actor playing a different person, and she's killing it. Like when she's like, hook me up, hoss.
Give me a slug of that hoss.
Like when she's shooting the guy. And
I know it's with the beer,
Edgar.
and
I mean, she nails that.
It's incredible. The character.
Pinky.
It's incredible.
Fuck.
Yeah, as like the badass teenager.
Totally. But guys, when I first saw this, you know, as a kid, the laugh.
Okay.
Ha 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 ha.
It's so scary, the laugh. So, okay.
That's so David Lynch.
It's so okay. I just said this to Evan right before we started filming. I was like, "This is so fucking Lynch." The face in the bar of the creepy like wench woman who's laughing at her, and then she's with and then she's with Edgar, and she's like, "Ha ha ha!" It's and then the parents' face,
the water like the thing does, and then laughs like it,
and then the parents' face like transposed over. Lynch is. That it's amazing and
it's weird to
unsettling.
mention Lynch, I guess, because obviously, like I said, neither are influencing each other, but it's just, I guess they're in the same territory. But it's the only thing I can think of.
I think Lynch completely was majorly influenced. I think this is an.
Do you think?
I think this was an actual.
Was the Three Women fan?
I think this was like a lifting of this movie.
Interesting. Okay,
100%.
I've never, because he does get coy and is like, I've never actually seen a movie.
It's the same movie. It's pretty much the same movie. But not Hollywood. It's like it's a different version of that movie. Like it's
fair enough. But or he never did see it, honestly, and they're both on this weird wavelength.
I don't know.
He seems like the kind of guy that likes older movies. like really digs stuff from
I
the
think
40s and 50s.
I think what he does is he likes to. I think what's cool about David Lynch is that, he's getting in. Okay, everyone. It all goes back to Bergman, guys. It goes back.
It's all persona.
They're both persona.
It goes.
Exactly.
It goes back to Bergman or it goes to Antonioni. You pick. That's where all good movies come from, or one or the other. And so he. I'm sure they're both being influenced by that, and there's a lot of similarities there. But what's cool about David is he interjects this sort of, film noir B movie kind of mystery element.
He brings so much of his own, obviously, take to it.
Right. No, but what you're saying too, Evan, that's what you're saying is, unlike Three Women, for whatever it's worth, this little conversation, is that Hollywood films always place like in Lynch's world.
Yes.
Whereas Three Women is a lot of it's very refreshing. It's real naturalism. It's like you feel like, you could like be walking into some shitty swingers apartment listening to like Hotel California, and that's very different but very rewarding because it's very lived in.
Definitely.
Whereas Lynch always has that distance where it's like, I'm watching a film about films in a film with film, influences, But this is not really. Three Men doesn't feel like film influence to me. You guys know what I'm saying?
No,
to Lynch, it feels like compared really to, of course, to Persona, but the naturalism of it, as we talked about earlier, it's so rewarding because I think if you tried to play this a little too hard and lose the naturalism, it would lose some of the magic because there's so much flatness to it. There's so much like Diet Pepsi, like world to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that shitty like like the pool side of a swingers like dumb apartment, with dumb people and Tom's dumb mustache, like WKRP in Cincinnati kind of world.
And the friends, they're kind of like these drunk losers. They're like you said, Marcus. It's like that stuntman. It's like they're living on the edges of nowhere. They're kind of like outcasts.
Mediocre, But the big explicit mediocrity is, of course, Millie's incredible transcendent thing, talking about like pigs in a blanket and stuff like that. And he actually does a nice thing. Is he spends a second, he zooms in on these like commercial, like budget, like Safeway kind of brand foods. He does it like a push in, almost like a Godard thing. And I like that. Like he's tipping a little bit and doing like a slow zoom as they're talking with banality. You know what I mean?
With the cheese whiz.
I got to say that all those recipes and stuff also come from Shelley. Like she made up the recipes, or they came from like whatever she was into, and she did the shopping for them.
Yeah,
right. She actually went out and did the shopping, got all the cocktail sauce.
Amazing.
She's a Texas girl.
She totally is. Real quick, I didn't get a chance to really say it. Was just the thing about the parents. Maybe it is possible to bring it back to the parents that there's something traumatic that occurred between Pinky and the parents. It's almost like maybe she ran away or something even more nefarious took place, But I just wanted to say real quick to bring it back then, when the transformation of Pinky, when she comes out of the coma, and that sequence where she just nonchalantly describes being just raped by the doctor
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And just like how like that's such a far cry, and you know, from this childlike person we saw before this, you know, in terms of just the way her demeanor is and the way she's speaking. And then it's like I really like just how the movie plays with in kind of a dreamlike way, but it's just a very subtle way of describing that maybe she is a completely different person now. Obviously, she says, "My name is Mildred. It's not Pinky," you know, and you know, it's just, you know, there's that. But then there's I love how when Shelley Duvall is trying to get Pinky's job back for her, they don't remember her working there, and then they have the same punch card and the same social security,
same name from the same town.
They're both called Mildred.
They're both Mildred, and I just love that confusion, because it does feel like almost a frustrated dream, you know, where these things are all taking place.
And that they really can be the same person because it's all just fractured consciousness.
Right. It's different sides of one very shallow, lost individual, a single person. And
I mean, same thing.
And they're doing, you know, like because I think what happens in these fugue state things we keep name dropping are like when something so traumatic happens, it's a cope. It's a coping mechanism to try to sort out something that was so searingly traumatic, and that's what Lynch is doing a lot,
Mulholland
especially
Drive.
in Lost Highway.
Yeah, and Mulholland Drive,
where it's something that like does happen, like a psychologically classifiable state where you're dealing with things, and it's like that happened to them over there.
Yep. It's actually funny. I'm studying it at school right now because I'm doing psychology, and we were learning about fugue states, and then like how it used to be called multiple personality disorder, but now it's disassociated. Disassociated. It's a disorder where you disassociate from trauma, but people go into fugue states and then they dissociate, and that's why it appears that it's multiple personality. But it's it's your sense of self has become fractured because you're detaching from that trauma. And I think that's why it's so amazing how Lynch embodies that. And when we did Mulholland Drive, it was similar, like with Diane or Betty. These two, same thing as Sissy's character, one person, two complete different characters. She's committing an act of murder by hiring that hitman, but dealing from the trauma of that, it's so extreme of like what drives that person that her sense of self becomes so fractured. In the same way in Lost Highway, the murder, same thing with O.J. Simpson, that thing becomes, then you're living in the dream of the coping mechanism, like you were saying. And that's synthesizing all our experiences and traumas into this other landscape that's just another dimension of our
just creating distance from like the guilt and whatever you might be not wanting or being able to deal with, you know what I mean? One thing I noticed, can we talk about Millie a little bit more? Millie had it, like there's the obvious journey that Pinky has, but Millie, I was talking about I had empathy for her, but like I was seeing a character grow in Millie. Yeah. And by the end, she gets pretty well. And actually, on the final note of the film is she gets quite strong, and she essentially becomes the matriarch of this sort of like daughter, mother, grandmother dynamic of the three of them.
Becomes a doula.
But she gets very strong, and she gets quiet, and she's stoic at the end of the film, and looks like a 1930s portrait of like a Dust Bowl mother or something like that. But also she gets very strong. She's trying to cope and deal with this absolutely shattering traumatic moment of the stillborn birth.
Ooh.
And that's a Millie who is both feet on the ground and trying to deal and not living in goofy personalities or fantasies or dreams. Like that's a heavily searing, grounded moment for this person, and she's meeting the challenge of it. I see that in the character's face, and I guess it makes me feel maybe not empathetic, but it makes me feel hopeful. Like she's like the only actual human being that's like kind of got a little something together at the very end,
which starts happening when
Millie.
When Pinky goes into the coma, all of a sudden there's there's a transition, and all the superficiality goes out the window, and she gets this groundedness and this purpose, and she cares deeply about this girl and saving this girl, and then
feels guilty, right?
She's a completely different person, though. She finds, she finds that sense of authenticity and
Can I say
gets
one?
It's really again it's so that in a subtle way it's a great performance on Shelley's part, because she's very silly and like prom photo-y and almost campy, and it's sort of a often remembered part of the film and her character, but like the second half of the film, doesn't do any of that kind of like pigs in a blanket shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's standing up for herself and she's standing up for Pinky, and she's very like she's strong, and it's like that goes into that the transition of like
Maturity.
the phases of womanhood.
And they fucking murder Edgar.
Yeah.
Yes. Can we talk about that?
Well, Altman said a couple things that are, pretty revealing, I think, about like what his intention was. I think like, he says that partly he was inspired by like the thought of like what happens when the last male dies. And he gave this great image of sea lions in Santa Barbara on the coast.
Wow.
They're all on a rock, these sea lions, and all the women sea lions are like laying out on these rocks. And when a male sea lion comes, they all drive him away. So this movie is like these women who are like oppressed by males in society, driving the males away. And one last little like thing he mentioned was that there was a French poster for the movie that says it had this tagline on it. It said, "One woman became two women became three women became one." He says like maybe that should have been included on all the posters because it kind of like is what the movie is
That's
about.
cool.
French people.
And then there is that solidarity, like it is like that very like divine feminine, like they find Evan.
I got to say one thing, just because we got far off from it. One thing is just the transformation when Pinky does become Mildred for short. Let's just say that when she turns and she has that transformation, she does kind of become what Millie wants to be. The sort of confident.
She's popular by the pool.
She's actually communicating with those guys and getting the attention from them, and she's a partier, and she's she's becoming all the things that she sort of wants to. And there's a great
fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's a great touch, and there's a really interesting other little scene that I like too, when like the melding of the personalities is kind of starting. It's post coma, but it's Millie comes in and reads the diary. And it's an entry about how her roommate isn't fun to be around. Hopefully she'll move out. But what's so cool about that is it works both ways. She could be reading an entry that's written by Pinky about her, or she could be reading something she wrote herself about Pinky, and it works both ways. And it's really cool. It's just a really cool detail that, how it makes it all kind of fit together in that way.
It is so weird how being Millie works for her.
It does.
It gets her into trouble, but
then when the scene with the stillborn, like that incredible scene, and then all the like, just to bring it back to like the identities kind of like filling up Pinky and then leaving Pinky, like where she's this, what is that called? Like not a shell, but like she's containing these personas. Yeah. And like when she's watching Willie giving birth, and Shelley Duvall is becoming this amazing frontier woman, basically. Yeah. Right. But then you look at Pinky and she has that blankness again, like all of that whole persona has emptied from her, and she
reverts back to Pinky.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very totally not a good moment for that, and that's what makes it. There's so much tragedy in that scene. It's really unbearable.
Dude,
because,
I was gonna say,
guess what? Millie immediately comes out and voices, what you're feeling when you're watching it. It's like she was so impotent and just standing there and not calling the police or the paramedics. And it's just like, she let this play out and didn't do what she was, screamed at to do. And Millie, and that's what I mean. That's a great moment where Millie, there's real emotion happening here because there's so much bizarre, stunted, sideways emotions in this film. But that is a big confrontational moment. And that's maybe in a weird way a breakthrough between, this is one person, by the way. Yeah. Like this is the one side of the person telling the catatonic space cadet child
snap out of it.
Person
to become a woman.
Wake up, grow up.
Yeah.
To grow up, yeah.
Yeah, but real quick. Sorry.
Holy shit, what a movie.
I was just going to say one thing about just the one thing, and Marcus, it's all yours, just on the same note. That fucking stillborn realization is so fucking, that's as scary as anything gets. The idea of when Shelley Duvall is like, why is it cold?
It's cold. It's cold. Yeah.
Unbearable.
And just like one more note on that like womanhood thing, like it sent chills down my body. Like when Edgar's like, "Oh she's having the baby," and then Shelley Duvall's like, "Where is she?" And she's like, "She's alone." And then all of a sudden it's like Millie grabs Pinky and she like finds Willie, and like it's like the three women come together, and it's like that's the role of women. Like they find each other in those moments, and it's like the men are just like staggering off,
drunkenly.
I do think it's significant that the baby was a boy, and that and that Pinky let the baby die. The baby boy die. Yeah. I do think that's significant.
Totally. And it's
Edgar. Sorry.
Oh well, they did say
then they shoot Edgar.
Right.
Because remember when Willie is shooting in the shooting range, and it's like the guy's head. She's like,
oh yeah, sure.
And I'm like, that's Edgar.
Yeah.
All three actresses said that they thought that they could. They thought that they did it. Each one of them thought that they killed Edgar.
That's so cool.
Oh, that's cool. That works, right? And shout out
I would
to
bet
Edgar.
on Millie doing it soon after the stillborn birth.
Yeah, totally. But, shout out to Edgar
more
too,
than
man.
Pinky.
That fucking scene where he sneaks into their apartment right before that birth scene, and he's all creepy, and it's like in the dark, and that is some also just what the fuck. It's so good.
Because he is this archetype, like both of you guys were saying. Like he is this terrifying sort of like male archetype of dominance,
like a bad dad. Like the horrible energy of like. Bad,
scary
like,
drunk dad,
like sexual abuse father, crawling in the bed in the middle of the night, like
predator.
And as the story goes along, it's like they do form this sort of allegiance against that energy. And in the dream sequence, when you see him, like sort of this abstract image of him sort of walking forward, and then Sissy's on the ground with the knife, it's like he is that monster sort of like in the painting. So I think that's
like Bob or something.
What do you girls learn?
One thing I have to mention. One thing I have to mention is how different this movie is than every other Altman movie, like Nashville, for instance. It's like, a cast of thousands or whatever, feels like it anyway, but that when it's limited to these like 3-4 actors, really, like he's got so much more control over like the set, the color, whatever that color yellow is in the whole film, like there's weirdly, it's like he's got more control over, it doesn't feel like, I don't know. It's the stark difference between all those other movies in this.
There is Images, which I haven't seen in a million years.
Same.
1972's Images.
Yeah.
He was playing around with a not dissimilar tableau,
True.
and doppelgangers and
and even Mrs. Miller is kind of a smaller cast film often too. In scope.
We got to do that.
But then
point.
but then he went real big again, and then he did fucking Popeye a few years later.
Yeah.
The fuck!
Oh my god!
That's his second most.
That should have been
surreal.
our first Altman. Actually.
I know.
Any last words?
It's got one of the best. Honestly, might be one of my faves of all time. So great. I'm gonna get some sociables together for y'all.
Sociables.
Munch on
I want to do like a 3 women dinner party. Like I think we should do that.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right, everybody. That was one Fugan hour on
nice one.
3 women. And
you are like the
every time you guys said
posse
Fugue State.
I know.
Every time you guys said Fugue State, I was thinking about Breaking Bad. Sorry.
I didn't see it.
What? Why?
Wait, when in Breaking Bad? I can't remember.
Never mind. If you don't know, I don't want
Do
to.
they talk about it in the show?
No spoilers. No, it's a whole.
Oh my god.
I have so many notes, but I think we did an okay job.
I think so too, guys.
I think we did an okay job with such an enormous task. Yeah.
Great.
Such a great film. God
Great
damn
job.
No, it's such a cool movie. It's just
Great
such a
film.
cool-
God.
Fucking great, guys. Get out there, rewatch it. So fucking special. See it on the big screen if you can. Otherwise, grab a hold of some nice 4K rip of it somewhere and check it out. It's really
it is very
beautiful.
unsettling. Like it really is. Like we're like that. Just like the unsettling
Cheating.
amping up of that. Okay,
Okay.
I'll shut up.
Cheating.
All right.
all
right.
good.
So that was
Sorry.
that was
One of the best cinematic experiences of my life was I was in Brussels and stranded there for like 2 weeks, and they had an Altman film festival going where every night
Oh
they
my
would show a
god,
different Altman film in order. It was so baller. Like I loved it.
that's amazing.
That's killer. In order, nice. Well, let's just say now. I mean, I'm changing the subject here,
Sure.
but let's really try to get our next Altman going here,
Sure.
like in the spring or something. Let's start thinking of some candidates.
We could do Altmania. We could do whatever you guys want. We could.
Oh my God! All right, you gotta check. Definitely report back on Shortcuts though,
Okay,
because it's it's incredible. It's
Tom
just
has not seen Shortcuts, so we got to get him
I
to
know,
watch
I
it.
know.
Wow.
I can't see
Love it.
all these movies. You know,
it's
like,
just the cast is amazing.
I mean, how am I going to see The Pickle Goes in the Middle, which is an actual film and it's not porno? Google it. Yeah, so I'm busy seeing The Pickle Goes in the Middle. I don't have time for this fucking Shortcuts stuff.
Oh, it's so good though.
Oh my God.
All right,
Well,
but we'll talk. We'll talk.
BJ Lang.
I know.
All right. Let's talk about next week.
Anyway,
guys, next week
well, Fugue State February.
Yeah. I know.
But
It is.
yes, coincidentally, I think we're going to fugue it up again.
We're gonna fugue it up. It's Fugue Fest continues into next week because
Best
we're
24.
for episode 99. It's unbelievable. Here we are. We're getting there. Episode 99. We're gonna cover a film we've teased many times on the channel. And
Was it not a candidate in the
I think it was
polls?
9070.
I love polls.
Yeah,
for 1970?
It was a candidate for the poll of 1970. We've done many films by one of the directors of this movie, Nicholas Roeg,
true.
and Donald
Oh my
Campbell's
God! Yeah, a
performance.
lot of rogues. Sorry.
Right.
That's true, yeah. Rogue State.
Rogue
Yeah,
State.
rogues. Yeah.
Rogue State of Mind. We're going to be doing Performance, of course, starring Mick Jagger from 1970. Another Fugue State
Loud
classic. So we're going to be getting into
I have
that.
some personal stuff. I connected with the editor of the film. I had lunch with him once. So
Oh, wow.
it was more interesting than you even think. Like he was
Okay.
like a
No,
jazz
sure.
musician. It's really crazy.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I
but
love
I'm a huge on that film. It's one
Yeah.
of my favorites.
Yeah.
This is like an embarrassment of riches to do these two films one week after
It
the other.
is.
And there are similarities.
Yeah,
This is the
they're-
male fugue.
You know, identity
fugue.
and states.
Yeah, identity,
and,
yeah.
For sure.
you know, Vice and what was the poster? Vice, period, and
Versa.
Versa. You
Yeah,
know,
Versa.
and it was pictures of Mick Jagger as a hippie and pictures of Mick Jagger as like a gangster in the film. And so
It's cool.
it's more of this stuff happening.
Let's do it. I'm very excited. So next week will be one Fugue an hour on Performance, and then it's going to be episode 100, guys, and we're going to have to unveil what that is. I actually have a pitch for that. I just thought of it.
listening. I don't have anything.
I just thought of it, but I'll save it for the off air.
Does it involve flights?
What does that mean? What does that mean? Like you
Well, I had
flying?
some fanciful notions, like we'd all do like a live one in Alaska or something like that.
Oh my God!
Like if we were rich motherfuckers, like
Well,
we would do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you
or
know.
or speaking of Alaska, we could also do one fucking season on the new True Detective if you're feeling that.
Hell,
Oh my God!
have fun with that, guys.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Brutal.
that
I don't want to.
Brutal.
hard pass.
I'm sorry for bringing that up, but I have an
Oh my-
idea that's kind of fun because,
Okay.
and I'm gonna pitch it when we get off the air. But so anyway, episode 99 Performance, and then of course into 100. So don't forget about that. And I guess that's all for us tonight, folks. Don't forget to sign up on the Patreon if you want to support the show. If you like what we're doing, you like listening to us talk about movies, and you want to hear us talk more about other movies and things. Get on the Patreon. Patreon.com/onefuckinghour is where we have all the bonus episodes, as I mentioned, and all of our audio commentaries, et cetera, et cetera. It's just $5 a month if you want to support us. We'd really appreciate that. Or you can join the YouTube channel and become a Momin. And speaking of Momin, of course, Tom, we can't leave anybody without their beautiful
Momin.
of Zen.
What the hell's that going to be?
We'll figure something out. We'll figure something. We'll figure
figure
something
something
out. So
And Rémy, it's great to have you again in the
Thanks
show.
for having me.
yes,
It was not even a question.
Thank
Yes.
Of course, you'd show up
yes.
for
had
this
to.
one,
Ring, Remy. Yeah,
and it was good to have you. It was cool.
of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you for
Remy.
rescuing us once again.
Yes,
Oh,
of course.
God.
Three men.
3 men.
3 men and a
And
baby.
a little lady.
Yeah, little lady.
Isn't that the sequel?
Yeah, it's the sequel.
So that's the name of this episode.
Oh my.
Yes, yes. That could be the moment.
Oh, it could be the what?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Could be the
It's what? I never seen
Ted Danson, Gutenberg, Tom Selleck. It's,
Oh, yeah.
It sells itself.
It's
And then
incredible.
like, but the sequel, like she's older.
She's older. They travel to London. It's some
And there's like a brutal murder, right? It's sort of surprising. Wasn't that like a big thing? Everybody's surprised.
Well, there was a ghost. in it.
Bludgeoning in the
There was a
middle.
ghost.
bludgeoning.
Well, there was a ghost in Three Men and a Baby, right?
Oh yeah,
I guess so.
I think there was on set.
Guys, we got to end the show.
There was a Gutenberg ghost.
All right, let's wrap it up.
This is the longest post moment
guys.
in existence. All right, guys.
We're just hanging out.
Check out your moment. Have a good rest of your week, and we will see you for episode 99. All right, guys.
Bye, folks.
Take care and love you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And I want to tell you I had a great time. And y'all come back, you hear?
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
That was wicked, man.